Snowlands. From taigas to tundras, from snow-covered forests to snow-covered mountain peaks, Snowlands have characterized various levels of various video games across different console generations. The areas covered in snow in games are myriads, countless in a digital world, from levels to racetracks to whole worlds painted in different shades of a shadeless white color. Snowlands are omnipresent and are not limited to strict confinements. Grey clouds bow to no border and spread winter wherever they travel to, above a wild empty field of Pokémon Legend Issue region or on top of the most urbanized of the northern metropolis like Sapporo, Japan in Yakuza 5. There are locations in the Arctic and in the mountain ranges where snow is permanent, and others where it comes and goes as it pleases. Many are the personalities snow can adopt in various scenarios. Strong blizzards like the one found in Valkyria Chronicles 4 can evoke a sense of despair and fragility, where even the strongest of armies is powerless against trillions of snowflakes. But the beauty of its picturesque white scenery found in the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim can bring comfort, a moment of peace and tranquility in the player's warm heart. After all, winter is associated with our holidays celebrated around the world. Christmas in the Western world, Thanksgiving in America, Diwali in India, and many more across the globe. It is no wonder then that Snowlands in games can both be sceneries of war, but also moments of calmness, of tranquility, of serenity, of peace. Snow plays a key role in world building in all of the game it's present in, either by enhancing the visuals, transforming the gameplay, or evolving the gaming experience. Snow is not only a decoration, but she's the protagonist of all the sceneries where she finds herself in. Snow is a character that plays with the NPCs and the players alike, changing their perspectives, hanging them under meters of condensed water. Today, as previously done for deserts and grasslands in what is now a trilogy of videos, I wish to explore Snowlands in all kinds of games, discovering how Snowlands are depicted and utilized by developers in various different scenarios, the infinite permutations this white cloth has over our gaming experience. So grab a hot chocolate, some marshmallows as well, and let us explore this cold wonder. Roll the intro. Snowlands are a challenging biome for us humans to thrive and develop. Agriculture is limited, hunting is challenging, and a poorly isolated shelter can mean the difference between surviving the cold and perishing under it. No wonder that in games like The Long Dark, surviving the cold is the top priority of the player. It's even in the name of the title. Colder climates are inherently hostile for human survival, yet they do provide resources other areas lack, such as water and storage. And this is far from the sole survival game that has winter as its main rival. Titles like Frostpunk also highlight the hardships of surviving in the colder wilds. There are non-survival games that also place the player in a difficult colder environment to teach them the importance of surviving in the cold. In Yakuza 5, specifically in Sajima's chapter, the player needs to hunt for survival in a lost forest somewhere in Hokkaido, where the smallest of mistakes can make the difference between life and death. Red Dead Redemption 2 Prologue also has a similar effect to the player, utilizing the survival aspect of Snowlands to teach the player how to play the game, how to thrive in the harshest of conditions to later be able to hunt anywhere. But do not get the wrong impression. Hunting is not a punishment, but a way of life, experienced by many people who live in the Arctic Circle. The Inupiaq are one of these people, located in the northern lands of Alaska in North America. In the indie game Never Alone, Kizima Injichuna, the player experiences the hardships but also the beauty of living in such communities, proud of their lifestyle in a land where the sun sets only once a year. Living here is challenging but magical for the Inupiaq people. In strategy games, this need of survival is also present. In games like Civilization, it is notorious how hard it is to start your nation in tundra environments, where vegetation does not grow and bodies of waters are endlessly frozen. Food is scarce and there are no geographical defenses to protect yourself from barbarians. The developers try to balance this hardship by increasing other benefits from the Snowland tile, like research. Some civilizations like Russia, Canada and Sweden do have some biome-specific bonuses, but it is undeniable that Snowlands are synonymous with challenge in the 2K strategy game. This statement does bring me to my next, broader point. Snowlands in video games are usually associated with an increase of difficulty in set games. Many are the titles where Snowlands appear later in the adventure as the main location for harder and more challenging levels, as a net contrast to the green prairies that usually characterize tutorial areas. In classic platformers such as Mario and Sonic, snow tends to be present in later worlds, the ones that are unlocked later in the adventure rather than their beginning. Think of World 3 in New Super Mario Bros. Wii or Frozen Factory in Sonic Lost Worlds. These are levels where the difficulty increases noticeably, from slippery slopes where the player can fall, to snow all around that could hide enemies and spikes. Even when the snow-themed level is introduced earlier in the campaign, like in Yooka-Laylee, it still functions as a striking difference between the beginning of the title. In Glitter Glaze Glacier, the player faces new enemies, new challenges, new spikes in difficulty, new everything. The white code serves as a clear indication of progression in the game, as a way to mark the beginning of the step up from playgrounds to obstacle courses. RPGs also tend to introduce their snowy themed areas well in the adventure. Dragon Quest XI Sliefenheim and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Kingdom of Tantal inside Genbu are just but two examples of areas in role-playing games that are reachable and explorable quite late in their adventure, where enemies are stronger and navigation is not as straightforward, being there snow blizzards and mini-bosses roaming around. In both games, the nations claiming the frosty bits of the worlds where they exist in have great difficulties to face related to the cold. In Dragon Quest, a curse is placed upon the people of Sliefenheim to keep them frozen in time, while in Xenoblade's Tantal, the Titan Genbu is slowly dying, dragging himself and the people living inside it below the clouds, and thus to even lower temperatures. Pokémon Platinum's Sinnoh Northern Routes and Snowpoint City take blizzards into the extreme, making them not only a fundamental obstacle for navigation, but also a gameplay mechanic. All games of the Pokémon franchise have the weather condition of hail, being a condition affecting all non-ice Pokémon by reducing their HPs. This gameplay element yet again embraces this idea of snow as being a slow but a deadly danger best to be avoided. The role-playing game where blizzards are a fundamental plot point in the adventure is Sega's Valkyria Chronicles 4. The military campaign is going well. No enemy trench can hold the invincible armada composed of thousands of tanks, millions of soldiers, and the player is quite nothing can stop them. But the winter. The game is a clear reflection of the Second World War winter campaign in Russia, and it demonstrates, in an anime suit, the importance sudden winter can have over greater conflicts. The game takes quite a different tone when it moves from the flower fields near Galia to the northern frozen sea, traversable only by the newest of inventions. The game's plot becomes darker, the missions becomes more challenging, and what started as a victory march became a marathon under the snow, where every inch feels like a mile. Fighting in the cold adds an extra layer of difficulty. The blizzard sceneries where bosses roam the land in Prey of the Gods adds an extra layer of intimidation, of fear, when fending off skyscraper-tall creatures. Look at this boss fight. While being the first one in the game, the blizzards and the whiteness of the scenery adds an unsettling feeling of defeatness, of lack of power, when fending against the odds in this David vs Goliath duel, a deadly tango danced across the snowy fields and peaks. So far, I've described Snowlands as a challenging biome, a white terror where the player needs to survive, yet snow has two faces, and the second one is much calmer and gentle than the first. As said earlier, thriving in the colder climate is not only possible, but pleasant, since the white scenery can have a charm like no other. Run around the wild forest in the first tree, just to observe the beauty of it all, the magic the few colors add to the white canvas that the world is surrounding you. Snow is dangerous, but when tamed it is docile, delicate, dazzling, delightful. When exploring the Hebra Mountains or the Gerudo Highlands in Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, yes, you may face challenges, but it is undeniable the beauty of its scenery and the calmness it brings to the adventure. There is wonder when shield boarding during the day and seeking shining shrines during the night. Snow freezes the land, but also freezes time. It brings comfort to see one springy island like the one present in Animal Crossing New Horizon covered in snow. It makes the game feel slower, calmer, as if the urgency of taking care of every minuscule detail is lifted away by this white duvet. Winter is, after all, as I stated earlier in the video, a season filled with holidays to be spent at home in the warmth of your family and your fireplace. Even in racing games, this effect is present. When you're off exploring the Rocky Mountains in Ubisoft's The Crew, or kart racing in any Mario Kart game, the snow tracks can be challenging, but also the more relaxed ones. Yes, you're still racing, but the purity of the scenery makes racing feel more like a marathon than a sprint, more of a journey than a free-lap race. There is something enchanting when observing the snowflakes fall one by one in a video game. These worlds covered in snow makes the gaming experience feel more relaxed, more at ease. The whiteness and the various shades of blue and grey do have an impact on how relaxed our eyes are, further easing our gaming journeys. Winter is also often synonymous with communities getting together. Colder lands like Skellige found in The Witcher 3 are not dominated by an empire with its bureaucracies and armies, but family-run clans, like the ones that controlled Scotland centuries ago. The same local-based system of government can also be found in the Skyrim region of the Elder Scrolls V, where the Empire has a harder time to control the various clans and jarls that truly govern the northern tip of the continent. In Snowlands, there is no central authority, but communities that work together to survive the odds. This joy of bringing together communities happens not only during times of peace, but also times of war. Winter fronts hardly change, and while some brutal battles were fought even under these harsh conditions, like the Battle of Stalingrad present in Red Orchestra 2, some instances like the Christmas truce did hold hostilities during the First World War. In the multiplayer game Verdun, that takes place in the Western Front during the Great War, every Christmas the weapons are replaced with snowballs and the trenches become football fields. These rare moments of humanity in what was one of the darkest chapters in history was achieved thanks to the snowy conditions that made trench warfare unachievable, ineffective, depicting snow once again as a positive force. If you have seen the video about deserts in video games, you might have noticed many similarities with this one. Snow blizzards to sandstorms, monochromatic beautiful sceneries, the duality of hardship and prosperity, and so on. And this is no accident. When analyzing Snowlands in video games, I've noticed that there are many parallelisms with deserts, and developers love to play with this dualism. In Mario + Rabbids, for instance, the second world is a mix between sandy deserts and icy tundra, the two polar extremes merging into one. In Breath of the Wild, Link has to be geared properly for both the hotter and colder environments, since both extreme climates can hurt a naive player. In Wargroove, maps are set by default in Grasslands, but they can be changed into deserts and snowlands whenever the player desires, not affecting the gameplay much but alternating the world's aesthetics. The examples of this symbiosis in the gaming worlds are plenty, many more that I can bring in this video without it being a full-on wiki page list, but the point I wish to address is that both Snowlands and deserts cover a similar role in gaming design, and developers may choose one or the other for very similar reasons. The two biomes represent two extremes that counterintuitively have so much in common. Snowlands are an iconic biome to set video games in, flexible, artistic, challenging, and harmonious. The games I've cited to explain how snow is depicted in the digital world all have unique takes and artistic depictions that are different from one another, and many more are the games set in Snowlands that I still need to explore. Snowlands in video games come in many forms, often in mountain-based levels, but also across frosty forests and painted white plains. In all genres of games, snow can both play the role of being an obstacle, a challenge to overcome, but as a blessing, a decoration to be embraced. We've observed a myriad of snow-based levels in the gaming world, and I doubt we will have a drought of them in the future. After all, we only covered the tip of the iceberg. The snowy biome is among the most represented and iconic in video games, and for good reason. I always enjoyed a well-structured snow level, whether this was crafted to be a raceway in Mario Kart or mountain peaks to explore in Just Cause. Snowlands are extraordinary, and their presence in games is always welcomed. If you made it this far, I wanted to thank you one too many Snowlands times for watching today's video. The past two videos of this mini-series were enjoyed by many people, and I am glad to have received many more suggestions of future biomes and areas I should cover next. And of course, you guys are more than welcome to expand this list. If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to leave it a like, to share it and to subscribe for more. I wish you a wonderful day, and until next time, arrivederci!